The Kriegsmarine inherited Imperial German naval uniforms on June 1, 1935, when Hitler officially established the German Navy in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Grand Admiral Erich Raeder deliberately maintained traditional designs to emphasize continuity with Imperial German naval glory, while gradually introducing Nazi elements. The basic enlisted uniform featured a dark blue wool jacket with 8 gold buttons, matching trousers, and a traditional sailor's collar with 3 white stripes, a decorative feature inherited from 19th century naval fashion rather than representing Nelson's victories. Officers wore double-breasted reefer jackets with gold braid indicating rank, white shirts, black ties, and peaked caps with the traditional German naval cockade. The uniform retained Imperial German color schemes and basic design elements, creating psychological links to Germany's pre-1918 naval power. Raeder specifically chose this approach to gain acceptance from conservative naval officers who remained loyal to imperial traditions rather than Nazi ideology. The uniforms appeared identical to Imperial German designs from a distance, allowing the Kriegsmarine to project historical legitimacy while secretly preparing for aggressive war. This continuity masked the fundamental transformation of German naval doctrine from defensive coastal protection to unrestricted submarine warfare, targeting civilian shipping. The Nazi naval eagle replaced the imperial insignia beginning in late 1935, when the Kriegsmarine introduced the eagle and swastika design across naval headgear. The transition happened gradually through 1936, under naval uniform regulations, not through Himmler's personal approval. The new insignia featured a stylized eagle clutching a swastika in its talons, positioned above the cap visor on all naval headgear. The eagle measured about 4.2 centimeters wingspan for enlisted personnel and 5.1 centimeters for officers, with precise specifications mandated by Kriegsmarine regulations. Gold thread eagles appeared on officers' caps, while enlisted personnel wore silver-colored versions to maintain traditional naval hierarchy distinctions. The eagle replaced the Imperial German anchor and crown symbol that had adorned naval caps since 1871, symbolically breaking with pre-Nazi traditions. U-boat commanders wore these eagles while conducting unrestricted submarine warfare that violated international maritime law and targeted civilian vessels. The insignia appeared on caps worn during operations, including unrestricted submarine warfare against Allied merchant and passenger shipping, reinforcing loyalty to Nazi ideology alongside traditional military discipline. The eagle design influenced similar Nazi military insignia across all branches of the German armed forces. Modern German naval personnel wear completely different cap insignia, rejecting all Nazi-era symbolism in favor of democratic German symbols. The U-boat leather jacket became the most recognizable Nazi naval uniform piece, worn by submarine commanders during the Battle of the Atlantic from 1939 to 1945. These jackets were manufactured by various German leather firms using cowhide treated with special waterproofing chemicals for maritime conditions. The standard design featured a double-breasted front with 8 buttons, 2 chest pockets, and a belt with metal buckle bearing the Nazi eagle and swastika. U-boat commanders like Günther Prien, Otto Kretschmer, and Joachim Schepke wore these jackets while sinking over 3,500 Allied merchant vessels and killing 36,000 civilian sailors. The jackets provided protection against North Atlantic weather conditions during surface operations and conning tower watches in sub-zero temperatures. Leather jackets were commonly issued to U-boat officers and watch personnel, though not every crew member received them. The jackets appeared in Nazi propaganda films and photographs, creating the romantic image of U-boat aces that concealed their role in targeting civilian shipping. Many jackets bore unofficial unit patches and kill markings, indicating the number of Allied ships sunk by individual submarines. The leather was often stained with diesel fuel, seawater, and human blood from combat operations and depth charge attacks. Surviving jackets are now displayed in military museums worldwide as artifacts of Nazi maritime war crimes. Modern collectors pay thousands of dollars for authentic U-boat leather jackets, despite their association with war crimes and civilian casualties. The Kriegsmarine dress uniform, formalized in the mid-1930s, represented the pinnacle of Nazi naval ceremonial attire, worn during state functions and diplomatic events. The uniform featured a dark blue wool tunic with gold braid, white trousers and ceremonial sword for officers above the rank of Oberleutnant zur See. Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz wore this uniform during meetings with Hitler, Mussolini, and other Axis leaders to coordinate naval strategy and submarine warfare policies. The tunic displayed Nazi eagles on the chest and sleeves, with rank insignia following traditional German naval hierarchy, but incorporating swastika symbolism. Officers wore white gloves, ceremonial daggers, and peaked caps with gold chin cords during formal ceremonies and diplomatic receptions. The uniform appeared at the 1936 Berlin Olympics during naval demonstrations, presenting Nazi Germany's maritime power to international audiences. Kriegsmarine officers wore dress uniforms during the commissioning of major warships like the Bismarck, Tirpitz, and Admiral Graf Spee. The ceremonial attire concealed the Kriegsmarine's preparation for unrestricted submarine warfare. Naval officers in dress uniforms attended Nazi party rallies and state functions, demonstrating military support for Hitler's regime. The uniform's elaborate design contrasted sharply with the practical clothing worn during actual combat operations. Modern German naval officers wear completely different dress uniforms that reject all Nazi symbolism and emphasize democratic values and international cooperation. The Kriegsmarine tropical uniform, introduced in 1940, equipped German naval personnel serving in Mediterranean, North African, and Atlantic tropical waters. The uniform featured lightweight khaki cotton fabric, short-sleeve shirts, and pith helmets, designed for operations in high temperatures. German naval units wore these uniforms while supporting Erwin Rommel's Africa Corps and conducting operations from bases in occupied France, Norway, and the Mediterranean. The tropical uniform included Nazi eagles and swastikas adapted for hot weather conditions, maintaining ideological symbolism while providing practical functionality. U-boat crews operating from French Atlantic ports wore tropical uniforms during surface operations and port visits in Bordeaux, Brest, and Saint-Nazaire. The uniform appeared during German naval operations supporting the siege of Malta and attacks on British Mediterranean convoys carrying supplies to North Africa. In the Aegean, Kriegsmarine personnel wearing tropical uniforms took part in patrols and transport duties, which indirectly supported occupation policies including deportations carried out by the SS and police. The lightweight fabric provided comfort during long submarine patrols in tropical waters, but offered minimal protection against Allied depth charges and aircraft attacks. German naval bases in occupied territories required personnel to wear tropical uniforms during summer months to maintain military appearance standards. The uniform's khaki color scheme influenced post-war military clothing designs, though modern versions completely eliminate Nazi symbolism. The Kriegsmarine winter uniform, introduced on October 1, 1939, protected German naval personnel during Arctic operations and North Atlantic patrols. The uniform featured heavy wool peacoats, fur-lined caps, and waterproof boots, designed for temperatures reaching -20 to -30 degrees Celsius. German naval units wore winter uniforms during the invasion of Norway, Arctic convoy attacks, and operations from bases in occupied northern territories. The peacoat displayed Nazi eagles and rank insignia, adapted for extreme weather conditions, maintaining military hierarchy while providing essential protection against hypothermia. U-boat crews operating in Arctic waters wore winter uniforms during surface operations and emergency evacuations in ice-covered seas. The uniform included specialized gloves, scarves, and face protection that allowed naval personnel to operate weapons and equipment in sub-zero conditions. Kriegsmarine personnel in winter uniforms participated in attacks on Allied Arctic convoys carrying supplies to the Soviet Union through the Barents Sea. The heavy wool fabric provided insulation during long submarine patrols, but became waterlogged and ineffective when exposed to seawater during combat damage. The Kriegsmarine submarine uniform, gradually standardized around 1940, equipped U-boat crews for extended underwater operations, lasting up to 8 weeks. The uniform featured dark blue wool sweaters, leather trousers, and rubber boots, designed for the cramped, humid conditions inside submarine hulls. German U-boat crews wore these uniforms while conducting unrestricted submarine warfare that sank 3,500 Allied merchant vessels and killed 72,000 civilian sailors and passengers. The sweater displayed Nazi eagles and unit patches, indicating submarine flotilla assignments and combat achievements measured in Allied tonnage sunk. U-boat crews also had access to separate emergency escape equipment and waterproof clothing for surface actions. The leather trousers provided protection against diesel fuel, battery acid, and seawater that constantly leaked into submarine compartments during combat operations. U-boat crews in these uniforms participated in wolf-pack attacks, coordinated by Admiral Karl Donitz's headquarters in occupied France. The uniform's dark color scheme provided camouflage during night surface operations and reduced visibility to Allied aircraft and escort vessels. The cramped submarine conditions meant uniforms became heavily contaminated with human waste, diesel fumes, and decomposing food during extended patrols. Modern submarine uniforms incorporate advanced materials and life support systems, while completely rejecting the aggressive warfare doctrine associated with Nazi submarine operations. Thanks for watching, and check out the channel for more videos.